You know what? After more than 25 years working as a relationship therapist here in Singapore, I've seen countless couples walk into my clinic at Orchard Road, and one of the most common things I hear from the wives is this. Dr. Ong, my husband doesn't know how to touch me properly lah. And the husbands, they look blur like sotong, totally clueless about what their wives actually want. So today, I'm going to share something that 90% of men still don't understand. There are 4 specific areas on a woman's body that, when touched correctly, can make her feel truly cherished and deepen your emotional connection. The last one, most surprising of all. So please stay with me till the end. Now, before we begin, let me be very clear. I'm not talking about those kind of touches. I'm talking about touches that show respect, care, and genuine affection. After treating over 3,000 couples in my practice, I can tell you this. It's not always about where you touch, but how you touch that makes all the difference. Many men here in Singapore, especially those of you who grew up in a more traditional Asian household, weren't taught these things properly. Your father didn't sit you down and explain, right? Mine also didn't teach my husband. So don't feel pissy if you're learning this for the first time at 50, 60, or even 70 years old. Better late than never, as we say. Let me explain something about the science first. You see, when someone touches us gently, our body releases something called oxytocin. Some people call it the love hormone or bonding hormone. This is not some Western nonsense. This is real neuroscience. Japanese universities have done extensive research on this, and I've studied these findings myself during my time at NUS. When a woman's skin is touched in a slow, gentle way, specific sensory nerves in her body respond. These nerves connect directly to parts of the brain that control feelings of safety, trust, and emotional connection. The result, i.e., her stress levels drop, she feels more relaxed, and most importantly, she feels closer to you. But here's the catch. If you touch wrongly, even with good intentions, it can backfire. Like that time my patient Uncle Tan told me he suddenly grabbed his wife's shoulder at Bugis Hawker Center and she jumped so high her chicken rice almost landed on the floor. Cannot just anyhow touch without reading the situation, you understand? The key is timing and awareness. Women are very sensitive to your mood, your body language, your tone of voice. They can sense immediately whether you're genuinely caring or just going through the motions. So before we talk about where to touch, you must first understand this fundamental principle. Touch with intention, touch with respect, and most importantly, touch only when she's comfortable. Now let's talk about the first area that most Singaporean men completely overlook. And this one might surprise you because it's actually quite close to a more intimate zone, but approached correctly, it creates a very different effect. It's the inner thigh. Wow, I know what you're thinking. Dr. Ong, are you sure or not? Isn't that area a bit too? Yes, I hear you. But listen carefully to what I'm about to explain. The inner thigh is what we call in psychology a personal zone. In daily life, almost nobody touches this area except maybe doctors during medical examinations or yourself. That's precisely why when someone you trust touches it gently and respectfully, it creates a strong emotional response. From a medical perspective, the inner thigh area has an extremely high concentration of sensory nerves. Even very light contact there sends strong signals to the brain. The skin there is also thinner and more sensitive to temperature and pressure. This is not just about physical structure, it's also about psychology. You see, the inner thigh represents a boundary line. It's in that zone of not yet supposed to touch, but I wouldn't mind if you did. This creates a tension between anticipation and restraint, which actually increases emotional arousal in a healthy way. I had one patient couple last year, Mr. and Mrs. Lim from Toa Payoh, married 30 years already. One day, Mrs. Lim told me that when they were watching TV together on their sofa at home, her husband very naturally placed his hand on her thigh, just resting there. She said her heart started beating faster and she suddenly felt like they were young again. That's the power of this simple gesture. But how to do it correctly cannot be rough and straightforward lah. The most important thing is to be subtle and gentle. If you just anyhow go and grab, confirm she'll feel uncomfortable and push your hand away. The best approach is when there's already trust and the moment is relaxed. For example, when both of you are sitting down together watching Channel 8 drama or having coffee at Tiong Bahru coffee shop, maybe your hand naturally comes to rest on her thigh, or perhaps during a massage, your hand gradually moves in that direction. The key is to read the air, as the Japanese say, must have that sensitivity. And according to actual research from relationship counselors, when asked which area they most wanted their partners to touch in an intimate but not overtly sexual way, the inner thigh ranked second. First place was the same general area, just slightly different position. The point is not to immediately turn it into something more physical. No lah, that's missing the whole point. This is about creating that quiet, gentle anticipation. Don't rush, don't hurry. Just let her feel the warmth of your touch and the sincerity of your intention. When you master this, she'll naturally want to spend more time close to you. Now, the second area I want to share with you is one that many men here completely underestimate. But women's instincts respond very strongly to it. It's the back. The back. So many husbands in Singapore, especially the busy working ones, they they neglect this area completely. After your wife comes home from wet market, after she's been cooking in the hot kitchen, after she's been taking care of the grandchildren the whole day, you know what she needs? A gentle touch on her back. The back is special because it's a part of your body. You cannot see yourself. At the same time, it's very sensitive to external touch. When someone touches your back gently, especially when you're not expecting it, women experience two feelings simultaneously. I'm being protected and a kind of pleasant, surprising sensation. Medical research shows that the back contains many points that trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the part of your nervous system that helps you relax, especially the area from the shoulder blades down to the lower back has concentrated nerves that promote relaxation. When touched gently, breathing naturally deepens, body temperature rises slightly, and heart rate increases just a little. This is the intersection of comfort and excitement. I remember one of my patients, a 55-year-old lady from Ang Mo Kio. She shared with me that during a period when her marriage felt very cold, one night her husband came up behind her while she was doing the dishes and gently placed his hand on her back. She said at that moment, tears almost came out and she thought, I want to try again with this man. Just one simple touch on the back changed everything, but you must know how to touch properly. The back is a large area and depending on how you touch, it can feel either ticklish or comforting. The most effective method is to stroke rather than press hard. Don't poke like that. Use your whole palm to convey warmth. Slowly move from the shoulders toward the lower back. This gentle pressure without forcing is extremely pleasant for a woman's nervous system. The best times are during quiet moments, like before sleeping or when sitting together on the sofa at home. If the environment is noisy or she's stressed about something, even the same touch might not work as well. The important thing is to match her rhythm and energy. There's another aspect to the back that we call the trust symbol. When someone turns their back to you, it means I feel safe with you. So when you respond to that trust with a gentle, caring touch, it reaches deep into her heart. But touching the back is not about intensity, it's about gentleness that holds strength. It reaches deeper than words and leaves a lasting impression. That's the power of the back. Now, the third area I want to share is deeply connected to Japanese culture and aesthetics, but actually women everywhere, including here in Singapore, respond to it very strongly. It's the nape of the neck. In Japanese culture, the nape has long been considered a symbol of sensuality and femininity. You know those kimono and yukata worn during summer festivals? The way the collar reveals just a glimpse of the nape creates an elegant allure for both men and women. But what most people don't know is that women themselves unconsciously feel pleasure when this area is touched. The area from the neck to the nape is extremely sensitive to external stimulation, especially gentle stroking touches. Many sensory nerves gather here, and because the skin is thin directly over the bone, stimulation is transmitted very directly. Medically speaking, when this area is gently stimulated, the parasympathetic nervous system activates, tension releases, and heart rate stabilizes. The neck area also has connections to nerves involved in dopamine and oxytocin secretion. When stroked gently, it triggers physiological responses that make you feel good and relaxed. This creates a state of sweet, gentle swaying where comfort and excitement coexist. It's that feeling where the line between reason and instinct becomes blurred. That's what happens inside a woman's mind when her neck is touched. The key is gentleness and quietness. The neck is an extremely delicate area. If you use your nails or touch suddenly, she'll immediately feel uncomfortable and pull away. That's why the most effective approach is movements that blend naturally into the atmosphere, like gently lifting her hair away or naturally placing your hand there while talking from behind. One of my patients, a 62-year-old lady from Marine Parade, told me this story. While she was cooking dinner, her husband came from behind, gently swept her hair aside, and softly kissed her neck. She said she got goosebumps all over, but not in a scary way. It was a combination of comfort and thrilling sensation at the same time. The nape is not just a body part, it's the boundary between beauty and pleasure, a switch that awakens unconscious sensuality. And this switch only activates when you touch with proper timing and respectful intention. Finally, the fourth area is one that almost every man overlooks, even though it's the most sensitive and delicate place. It's a place where even without calling out or reaching out your hand, just coming close can change the atmosphere. It's the ear. The ear is the place on a woman's body that responds most strongly to both sound and touch. You don't need to call out, don't need to extend your hand, just moving closer changes the energy. Around the ear, many peripheral nerves are densely packed, including branches of the vagus nerve. This vagus nerve is part of the autonomic nervous system that deeply affects heart rate, digestive function, and emotional stability. Just lightly stimulating certain parts of the ear can make the brain feel calm and experience pleasure. Especially the area below the earlobe and behind the ear are regions that people are not accustomed to being touched, yet when touched, they create an instant tingling sensation. This isn't just a physical response. The brain recognizes this as special contact. For example, many women experience a thrilling sensation when someone whispers softly in their ear or when someone sweeps their hair aside and blows gently near their ear. This is an emotion very close to instinctive excitement, different from anxiety or nervousness. In fact, research in relationship psychology has shown that whispering near the ear is one of the biggest factors that increases a woman's heart rate. But the ear is also a very delicate zone because it's so sensitive to sound. If your voice is too loud or your touch is too rough, she'll immediately become guarded. The important thing is to speak softly, slowly, and carefully. The best situations: when she's relaxing on the sofa at home before bed, when you're lying next to each other, or moving from behind and gently sweeping her hair while naturally letting your fingers touch her ear. If you want to use your voice as a tool, simply saying something like, "You look lovely today," in a low, calm tone can open both her ears and her heart in an instant. Or the ear is a place that other people rarely touch. That's exactly why when it's touched in an atmosphere of trust and safety, it creates an overwhelming sense of intimacy and specialness. So there you have it. These 4 areas, the inner thigh, the back, the nape, and the ear. Each one is a place where a woman's emotions and body are intimately connected. Each is a delicate and profound switch that only opens when touched appropriately. But here's the most important thing I want all of you to understand. More important than where you touch is how you create the right atmosphere. That's what determines the quality of every touch you make. No matter how correctly you touch, no matter how gently you do it, if there's no trust and consent in that space, it won't feel pleasant at all. It might even become an uncomfortable memory. For women, the meaning of being touched is heavily influenced by her mood at that moment and the atmosphere around her. So let me be very clear. Creating the right atmosphere before touching is the key to everything. First, you must carefully observe her facial expression, her breathing, her tone of voice, her body distance. Is she relaxed? Is she smiling? Is she not tense? If the space feels safe and comfortable when you touch her gently, her body will naturally accept it. Another thing you cannot forget is what I call silent consent. Of course, asking, "Can I touch you here?" is wonderful consideration, but you don't always need to use words. You can develop the ability to sense from her gestures and reactions whether she's ready to accept your touch. If you force it, if you get the timing wrong, all the trust you've built can collapse in an instant. On the other hand, when the atmosphere is right and you touch her gently, a woman's heart and body will respond with surprising honesty. In the end, touching is not an action. It's an expression of emotion. When your touch carries genuine feeling, it stays deep in a woman's heart. It resonates gently, warmly, and sometimes even sensually. Look, I've been doing this work for over 25 years here in Singapore. I've seen young couples just starting out at HDB flats in Punggol. I've seen middle-aged couples struggling with their teenage children's problems in landed properties at Bukit Timah. I've seen elderly couples in their 70s and 80s at retirement homes trying to reconnect after years of growing apart. And you know what I've learned? It's never too late to improve your relationship. Some of you watching this might be thinking, "Aya, Dr. Ong, I'm already 65 years old. My wife and I have been married 40 years. Is it too late to start doing these things?" No lah. It's never too late. In fact, one of my most successful cases was a couple, both in their late 60s. Uncle had never been very physically affectionate because that's just not how his generation was raised in Singapore. But after our sessions, he started incorporating these gentle touches into their daily life. His wife told me she cried happy tears because suddenly she felt like they were newlyweds again. For those of you watching this who don't have a partner yet, don't think this information is useless. One viewer commented on the original video saying, "But Dr. Ong, I don't even have a girlfriend to touch." I understand, but knowing this information now prepares you for when you do meet someone special. It's like learning to drive before you buy a car, right? Better to be prepared. And for those of you who are single and maybe thinking it's too late for love, let me tell you something. I have patients in their 70s finding new companionship and happiness. Singapore has many social activities for seniors now. Community centers got dancing classes, there's silver generation programs, even online dating for older folks. Don't give up on yourself just because you're not 25 anymore. But back to today's topic. The 4 areas I shared with you today are special places where women's emotions and instincts quietly respond. But the most important thing is not about memorizing these 4 spots like studying for PSLE exam. The most important thing is the feeling behind your touch. Women sense your intentions more from the atmosphere and your fingertips than from your words. When you touch without rushing, without forcing, with genuine care, trust and bonds naturally deepen. What starts as simple contact transforms into a meaningful moment of love. From today onwards, I want you to try touching your partner with genuine intention. That one moment might become the first step in significantly changing your relationship. Whether you've been together 5 years or 50 years, it's never too late to show her you care. And remember, what I've shared today is just the beginning. In my practice, I cover so much more about communication, emotional intelligence, and maintaining long-term relationships. If you found this helpful, you can check out my other videos about reading body language, improving communication with your spouse, and keeping the spark alive in long-term marriages. One last thing before I end. Some of you might be worried, what if I try this and my wife gives me strange look? What if she asks why I suddenly so affectionate? Well, you can just tell her honestly, I watched this video by Dr. Ong and I realized I should show you more affection. Trust me, most wives will be pleasantly surprised and touched that you're making an effort to learn. So please don't just watch this video and forget about it. Actually apply what you've learned. Your wife, your partner, the woman in your life deserves to feel cherished and loved, and you deserve to have a deeper, more meaningful connection with her. Can or not, can one la. I believe in all of you. After 25 years of helping couples, I've seen transformation happen at every age. You just need to take that first step. So go ahead, create that comfortable atmosphere, read the situation carefully, and show her through your gentle touch that she truly matters to you.